What was weird about Antarctica?
You can't go to the interior of Antarctica, which is where we were. So there, at the South Pole, there is a bunch of, from my understanding, like pure science going on there. This is straight up kind of tourism.
Antarctica's icy expanses have long been a source of fascination and mystery, not just for scientists and explorers, but also for those who delve into the world of conspiracy theories.
So the U.S. government's like, something's going on with Antarctica. There's some activity up there. We want to find out what's going on.
Among the most captivating of these theories is the idea that the world's billionaires are deeply involved in uncovering the secrets that lie hidden beneath the continent's frozen surface. At the heart of this intrigue is the theory that ancient civilizations, perhaps as legendary and sought after as Atlantis or Lemuria, might have once existed or even still exist under the miles of ice.
One of the things I find most striking is the presence of Antarctica on ancient maps.
Supporters of this idea point to intriguing pieces of evidence, such as the Piri Reis map from 1513. This map, they argue, depicts Antarctica's coastline with remarkable accuracy long before it was officially discovered, hinting at the possibility of ancient, advanced seafarers who knew of its existence.
Because we didn't discover it until 1820, and yet it's on maps drawn in the 1500s with great detail.
Adding to the mystery are various anomalies and unexplained findings in Antarctica that fuel speculation about secret bases or remnants of ancient civilizations. For instance, satellite imagery has occasionally revealed patterns and structures that defy easy explanation, suggesting either human or alien activity. Then there's the historical fact of Germany's expeditions to the continent.
So the area of Antarctica they went to was New Schwabenland.
New Schwabenland.
While officially aimed at exploration and drilling, these missions are speculated by some to have been a cover for establishing secret bases or making contact with extraterrestrial technology.
He had made a deal, basically, working with
What?
You've never heard this?
No.
It's the greatest story ever, bro.
Perhaps the most famous piece of evidence cited by conspiracy theorists is Operation Highjump. Led by Admiral Richard E. Byrd in 1946 to 1947, this U.S. Navy operation was officially tasked with establishing research bases.
Why this interest in the bottom of the world? Nobody living down there.
I tell you one reason they're interested. It's by far the most valuable, important place left in the world for science.
However, some believe it was actually a covert mission to investigate suspected alien bases or ancient ruins hidden beneath the ice. Operation Highjump, intended to establish the research base Little America 4, has sparked widespread speculation. Despite its official scientific and exploratory objectives, the operation's extensive military involvement has led some to wonder if there was more to the mission. Conspiracy theorists are especially intrigued by alleged diary entries and interviews, where Byrd spoke of encountering incredibly fast-flying objects, hinting at a non-human origin. These accounts fuel theories that Byrd's expeditions might have uncovered evidence of alien presence, or even ancient advanced technology hidden beneath the ice, possibly linked to secret German bases or lost civilizations. Adding depth to these narratives are claims from whistleblowers, individuals who say they've encountered the extraordinary during their time in Antarctica.
There's low-frequency stuff going on, and they've made deals with people and things, and that's why things going on.
These accounts describe massive underground facilities and advanced technology, far beyond current human capabilities, including energy sources and spacecraft with designs not of this world. Some even claim direct interactions with extraterrestrial beings, describing these encounters as either peaceful exchanges of knowledge or distant observations with unclear motives. Allegations of government attempts to silence these stories or restrict access to certain Antarctic regions further compound the mystery, suggesting a cover-up of monumental proportions.
You can't go to the interior of Antarctica, which is where we were.
Supporting these individual accounts are broader theories suggesting that Antarctica might be a hub for secret space program activities and alien-human collaborations. Whistleblowers and theorists alike speculate that the continent's isolation makes it an ideal spot for covert operations away from the public eye. They talk of expeditions uncovering ancient artifacts and technologies, suggesting a history of Earth that includes interactions with advanced extraterrestrial civilizations long before recorded history. There's a compelling theory that suggests the continent is not just a frozen wilderness, but a treasure trove of undiscovered technology and mystical artifacts. This theory draws on the allure of the unknown, suggesting that billionaires in their quest for groundbreaking discoveries are funding expeditions to unearth secrets hidden beneath the ice. Imagine ancient alien technology, possibly lying dormant under the vast ice sheets. Artifacts and machinery from civilizations beyond our world could revolutionize our understanding of energy, propulsion, and technology itself. Then consider the possibility of finding mystical artifacts with immense historical significance, like the Ark of the Covenant or the Holy Grail. The idea that such objects could be hidden in Antarctica, far from the prying eyes of the mainstream world, adds an intriguing layer to the continent's allure. But what would one do with such discoveries? The theory suggests the construction of secret underground bases in Antarctica. These wouldn't be just any hideouts. We're talking about luxurious bunkers designed to shield the elite from global catastrophes, equipped with everything needed for self-sufficiency and advanced facilities. Imagine state-of-the-art laboratories dedicated to studying alien technology and ancient artifacts, all in a secure and secluded environment, away from the eyes of international agencies or potential espionage. What makes Antarctica so appealing for these secretive activities? It's the continent's extreme remoteness and the harsh climate, combined with the mystique of being Earth's last unexplored frontier. The Antarctic Treaty System, which prohibits military activity while promoting scientific cooperation, offers a unique legal loophole. In theory, those with sufficient resources and influence could exploit this to conduct activities that would be impossible or highly scrutinized elsewhere. In the vast icy wilderness of Antarctica, there are claims about geological anomalies and unexplained structures that seem to defy simple explanations. Take, for example, the pyramid-like formations spotted in satellite images and photographs of Antarctica. These structures bear a striking resemblance to the pyramids of Egypt, Mexico, and other ancient civilizations, featuring sharp angles and symmetrical geometries that suggest they might not be natural formations at all. Could these be the remnants of ancient civilizations that had contact with extraterrestrial beings? Or perhaps they were created by aliens themselves as energy transmitters, navigational aids for UFOs. The possibilities fuel endless speculation and wonder. Another fascinating theory revolves around the concept of an entrance to inner Earth in Antarctica. This idea posits that our planet has significant hollows or vast cavern systems capable of supporting life or entire ecosystems and civilizations. According to proponents, the icy landscape of Antarctica could be concealing entrances to these subterranean worlds, possibly inhabited by advanced civilizations or alien species. This theory isn't new. It has roots in various cultures and scholarly proposals throughout history. But in Antarctica, it takes on a new, mysterious dimension, with some claiming to have seen evidence of large openings or cave entrances that can't be explained by natural geological processes. Then there's the matter of unusual energy signatures detected in Antarctica. Occasionally, satellites and scientific instruments record unexplained heat sources under the ice or anomalous electromagnetic readings. While there might be natural explanations for these phenomena, such as geothermal activity, the more adventurous minds suggest they could be signs of alien technology. This could include anything from advanced propulsion systems powering underground bases to terraforming equipment meant to alter Earth's environment for extraterrestrial purposes. Adding another layer to the mystery, some argue that scientific missions to Antarctica are not what they seem. Instead of merely researching climate change, geology, or biology, these expeditions could be cover-ups for more secretive investigations into the anomalies. The suggestion is that these missions might be tasked with studying alien technology or engaging with extraterrestrial beings residing in hidden bases. The role of billionaires in potential alien collaborations takes center stage, especially when it comes to the icy expanse of Antarctica. There's talk, whispered in the circles that love to ponder the unknown, about how these ultra-wealthy individuals are not just idle spectators in the quest for extraterrestrial contact, but active participants. Rumors abound that some of them have been whisked away to secret meetings in the Antarctic wilderness, where they've sat down with beings from other worlds. The agenda? Nothing less than technology sharing, interstellar travel discussions, and maybe even plotting the course of global governance. But why would extraterrestrials choose to meet with billionaires? Well, it's said that these magnates are pouring money into covert operations and research teams with one goal: to dig up alien technology hidden beneath the endless ice. The prize, for those who believe in such tales, isn't just knowledge but power, the kind that could leapfrog humanity into a new era of technological supremacy. But with great power comes great, well, you know. The control over such alien technology could place unparalleled economic and military power in the hands of a select few, potentially reshaping the global power structure. It's even suggested that engagement with extraterrestrial beings could elevate certain billionaires or shadowy consortiums to the status of humanity's unofficial emissaries, wielding influence over interstellar diplomacy and policy. And then there's the chilling concept of a new world order, a theory that paints Antarctica not just as a meeting point with aliens, but as the headquarters for a global elite seeking to control or significantly influence world affairs. Imagine a coalition of billionaires, high-ranking politicians, and international bankers, all conspiring in a land of ice and snow, far from the oversight of national governments and the public eye. Project Highjump, also known as the United States Navy Antarctic Developments Program, 1946 to 1947, stands out as a remarkable chapter in the history of exploration, blending military precision with scientific curiosity. This operation, under the guidance of the indomitable Admiral Richard E. Byrd, was more than just an expedition. It was a groundbreaking venture into the unknown, aimed at asserting US presence and prowess in the Antarctic during the tense early years of the Cold War.
So the U.S. government's like, something's going on with Antarctica. There's some activity up there. We want to find out what's going on. So they send this cat named Admiral Byrd up to investigate with a giant fleet.
At the heart of Project Highjump was the establishment of Little America 4, the latest in a series of bases that served as a testament to human resilience and ingenuity. Located strategically on the Ross Ice Shelf near the Bay of Whales, this base was not just a shelter but a fully equipped research station, with state-of-the-art labs, living quarters, and storage units all designed to endure the extreme cold. Little America 4 became the epicenter of operations, facilitating groundbreaking research in meteorology, geology, and glaciology. It was from here that aerial and ground surveys were launched, significantly enhancing our understanding of Antarctic geography. But Project Highjump was as much about the people as it was about the place.
And
So,
this is where the missing 411 come from, which is all these people have mysteriously disappeared in force.
Over 4,700 military personnel underwent rigorous training to adapt to the harsh polar conditions, marking the operation as much a human endeavor as a technological one. The expedition tested the limits of cold weather gear, from specialized clothing to heating systems, ensuring the team could operate effectively in the unforgiving Antarctic environment.
There will be a number of expeditions to the bottom of the world because the government has really become interested.
The technological achievements of Highjump were nothing short of revolutionary. The operation marked the first major use of helicopters and aircraft in Antarctica, transforming the logistics of polar expeditions. This fleet of snow tractors, weasels, aircraft, and ships was not just tested, but proven in the polar climate, providing invaluable data for future operations in similar conditions. Beyond the scientific and logistical achievements, Project Highjump was a statement of geopolitical intent.
I 100% believe this is a spiritual war and that these people are working with dark entities, and that's what this is all about.
In the shadow of the Cold War, establishing a US presence in Antarctica was a strategic move, showcasing American capabilities and interests in this remote region. The operation navigated the complex terrain of international law and diplomacy, aiming to consolidate US claims and influence in Antarctica.
I think there's low-frequency stuff going on, and they've made deals with people and things, and that's what I think's going on.
It's clear that this was no ordinary expedition. It was a bold foray into the unknown. The establishment of Little America 4 and the extensive training and testing that took place under the harsh Antarctic conditions were all steps toward a greater understanding of our planet. The legacy of Project Highjump would eventually lead to the Antarctic Treaty System. When Admiral Richard E. Byrd spearheaded Project Highjump in the mid-1940s, he wasn't just leading an expedition. He was venturing into the unknown on a scale never before seen in Antarctic exploration. This ambitious endeavor by the United States Navy was a testament to human curiosity and the drive to push beyond conventional boundaries. With over 4,700 personnel on board, ranging from naval officers to scientists and support staff, the operation was a massive undertaking that showcased the Navy's commitment to exploring and understanding the mysteries of the Antarctic continent. The fleet for this colossal mission was just as impressive, comprising 13 ships with diverse capabilities. Among them, the USS Philippine Sea stood out, not just as an aircraft carrier, but as a floating base for aerial operations that brought unprecedented mobility and reach to the expedition. This fleet, complete with icebreakers, supply ships, and destroyers, played pivotal roles, from navigating through treacherous ice to providing essential logistical support and serving as platforms for scientific research. This innovation opened new avenues for exploration and research, allowing the team to reach previously inaccessible areas. Fixed-wing aircraft were extensively used for aerial photography and mapping, covering nearly 1.5 million square kilometers of uncharted territory. This was no small feat. The aerial reconnaissance conducted during Highjump was crucial for mapping the continent's geography, studying its geology, and planning future expeditions. The resulting photographs and maps became authoritative sources of Antarctic geography for years to come. The harsh and extreme conditions of Antarctica posed significant challenges, necessitating innovative technological adaptations. Everything from vehicles to aircraft and ships was modified to withstand the polar conditions. Special insulation, heating systems, and lubricants were developed to ensure functionality in the extreme cold. These adaptations were not just crucial for the success of the expedition, they contributed to the development of technologies that would be used in cold environments worldwide. According to some, the United States Navy's expedition to the icy continent wasn't just about exploring uncharted territory. It was a covert operation to uncover something much more extraordinary: exotic technologies or evidence of ancient civilizations buried beneath the ice. The story goes a bit like this. Tucked away in the vast frozen landscapes of Antarctica, there might have been remnants of an advanced ancient civilization, or perhaps even a crashed alien spacecraft. Imagine that, hidden bases or technology from other worlds right here on Earth, lying in wait under the ice. This theory plays into the idea that such discoveries could explain the rapid technological advancements of the period. Maybe, just maybe, the team behind Project Highjump was on the brink of uncovering secrets akin to those of Atlantis or other legendary lands, secrets that could rewrite our understanding of history and science. But let's take a step back and sift through the layers of this captivating story. When we dive into the official records and facts from the expedition, a different picture emerges, one rooted firmly in the realm of scientific exploration and research. There's no denying the operation was ambitious and groundbreaking, but its achievements lie in the contributions it made to our understanding of the Antarctic region, not in unearthing ancient tech or alien relics. Now, one of the most intriguing conspiracy theories that's been swirling around for decades, the idea that Project Highjump was actually a secret mission to uncover a German base hidden deep in the icy expanses of Antarctica. It's a tale that mixes real historical events with a hefty dose of speculation, all set against the mysterious backdrop of the Antarctic wilderness. Let's start at the beginning. Back in the late 1930s, Germany did indeed embark on an expedition to Antarctica, known as the Third German Antarctic Expedition. This venture was aimed at expanding Germany's whaling capacities and staking a territorial claim for resource extraction, naming the explored area Neuschwabenland, after a region in Germany. However, despite the grand ambitions, the expedition didn't result in the establishment of a permanent base, just a fleeting brush with the icy continent. Now onto the more thrilling part of the story, the theory that the Germans conducted secret drilling operations in Antarctica. According to various speculative narratives, these operations had several possible goals: hunting for rare minerals to power their war machine, establishing a covert base under the ice, dubbed Base 2111 or New Berlin, or even seeking out ancient knowledge or alien tech hidden in the Antarctic depths. It's the stuff of science fiction with a dash of historical intrigue, but let's pause for a reality check. The technical feats required for deep drilling in the Antarctic ice are formidable, even by today's standards. Considering the technology available in the 1930s and 1940s, the idea that they could have pulled off such a feat is highly improbable. Modern ice core drilling projects, which have successfully reached great depths, rely on sophisticated equipment and logistics that simply weren't at the Germans' disposal. But as World War II came to a close, rumors started to take flight. Stories began circulating about Germans fleeing and seeking refuge in a secret base in Antarctica, supposedly established in the wake of the Richer expedition. As the years went by, this theory found its way into various books, articles, and eventually online forums and documentaries, each iteration adding layers to the narrative. Speculations about the Germans developing advanced technology and weaponry in isolation, far from the prying eyes of the world, only served to deepen the mystery and allure of the story. Yet despite its captivating narrative, this theory remains just that, a theory. The concept of such dramatic geographical shifts is viewed by the scientific community as highly speculative and lacking in solid geological evidence. The current understanding of plate tectonics does not support the possibility of the Earth's crust moving so drastically and quickly to reposition an entire continent from a temperate zone to the South Pole. But the theory delves deeper than just geography. It explores global myths, legends, and religious texts, interpreting them as potential clues to the existence of this ancient civilization. Tales of great floods and cataclysms found in these stories are not seen as mere fiction, but as allegorical records of real events that led to the downfall of this advanced society.
The most important issue to me is the issue of a global cataclysm at the end of the Ice Age.
It is hypothesized that a major disaster, such as a flood or comet impact, could have been the cause of this civilization's disappearance from historical records, with survivors possibly dispersing around the globe and spreading their advanced knowledge to other emerging cultures.
Of course, the most important are the flooded continental shelves. Sea level rose 400 feet at the end of the last ice age. Let's be clear, this was a rise that was extended over a period of 11 or 12,000 years. It did not rise 400 feet overnight.
This leads to another intriguing aspect of the theory, the influence of this lost civilization on later societies. It is believed that the remnants of this ancient society played a significant role in shaping the development of well-known ancient cultures, such as the Egyptians and Sumerians. Similarities in architectural structures and astronomical alignments across different ancient sites are cited as evidence of a shared origin of knowledge. This suggests that these early civilizations might have inherited advanced architectural techniques, astronomical insights, and possibly other lost technologies and wisdom from their predecessors.
The discovery of the technique to do longitudes that actually show the world as it looks during the last ice age suggests that somebody during the last ice age was mapping the world.
Imagine a world where an advanced civilization flourished tens of thousands of years ago, long before the Sumerians of Mesopotamia marked what we consider the dawn of civilization around 6,000 years ago. This bold claim challenges the conventional timeline of history, suggesting that this sophisticated society existed during the last ice age or even earlier, presenting a significant puzzle for mainstream historical narratives that typically view complex societies and state-level civilizations as relatively recent developments. The evidence pointed to is as fascinating as it is controversial. It highlights the architectural marvels of megalithic structures like Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, the iconic Stonehenge in England, and the majestic pyramids of Egypt and Mesoamerica.
One of the many ways that Göbekli Tepe, I think, is going to prove to be a game changer is it's going to require us to reconsider our whole dating sequence on megalithic sites around the world.
These ancient constructs are not just stone monuments but testimonies to an advanced knowledge of architecture, engineering, and astronomy. Precise astronomical alignments of these structures, such as the alignment of the Great Pyramids with Orion's Belt or the solstices and equinoxes at Stonehenge, underscore a sophisticated understanding of the heavens. This expertise suggests that the people who built these monuments had a deep comprehension of celestial bodies, seasons, and cycles. The theory extends beyond monumental architecture. It proposes that this civilization possessed advanced navigational skills, which could explain how similar architectural styles and astronomical knowledge appeared across vast distances, transcending oceans and continents. The scale, precision, and complexity of these megalithic structures indicate technological and engineering skills far beyond what has traditionally been attributed to prehistoric societies. Furthermore, the alignment of ancient monuments with astronomical phenomena hints at a comprehensive grasp of astronomy, deeply integrated into their cultural and religious practices. Evidence of sophisticated urban planning evident in the ruins of ancient cities suggests advanced societal organization and knowledge of city building. The global spread of similar architectural and astronomical insights among disparate ancient cultures indicates a shared source of advanced knowledge. This could have been disseminated by survivors of this prehistoric society, whose legacy might be the foundation upon which later civilizations built their own achievements. Journey back to the Eocene epoch and you'd discover Antarctica vastly different from the icy, remote continent familiar to us today. This fascinating period reveals a past where Antarctica wasn't engulfed in ice but was bustling with life. During the Eocene, Antarctica occupied the same position over the South Pole as it does currently. Yet the global climate was substantially warmer, enabling the continent to support a climate far removed from the frozen desert we recognize now.
There was a lush rainforest that is now covered in miles of ice.
Yeah, that's probably true. The Earth's climate was very different from how it is today.
This era marked a time of significant change, with continental drift following the breakup of the supercontinent Pangaea. As part of the Gondwana fragment, Antarctica was gradually moving to its present isolated position, while continents like Australia and South America began to drift away, modifying ocean currents and climatic conditions. A notable difference from today's Antarctica was the absence of the vast ice sheet that currently covers the continent. The Eocene's elevated global temperatures meant Antarctica was devoid of this extensive ice cover, which had profound implications for the planet's climate. The lack of ice's high albedo effect, which reflects solar radiation, resulted in an even warmer Earth's climate. The tectonic activity during the Eocene was crucial in reshaping our world. The breakup of Gondwana persisted, and the formation of the Drake Passage between Antarctica and South America began to physically isolate the continent. This isolation marked a critical juncture in Antarctica's climatic history. Another significant development was the formation of the Antarctic Circumpolar Current towards the end of the Eocene, or at the beginning of the Oligocene. As the world's largest ocean current encircling Antarctica, the ACC played a vital role in the thermal isolation of the continent. By circulating cold water, it established a climatic barrier that kept warmer waters at bay, leading to the cooling and eventual glaciation of Antarctica. Fossil evidence breathes life into the Eocene Antarctica, with forests of beeches, conifers, and ferns indicating a much warmer and more humid climate than today's icy conditions. These fossils, including those of plants and pollen, demonstrate that the continent once supported a diverse range of flora and fauna. Sea levels during the Eocene were significantly higher due to the absence of large ice caps and the warmer global temperatures. This resulted in different coastal configurations, with areas now above water being submerged at that time. The elevated sea levels and warmer temperatures fostered a rich and diverse marine ecosystem, distinct from the current Antarctic marine life. Thus, when we contemplate Antarctica today, it's essential to remember that this icy continent once experienced a vastly different past, one that was warmer, brimming with life, and played a pivotal role in Earth's geological and climatic history. The Eocene epoch, a captivating chapter in Earth's history characterized by dramatic climatic shifts and significant transformations in life on our planet. This period, stretching from about 56 to 34 million years ago, is nestled within the Paleogene period of the Cenozoic era, famously known as the Age of Mammals. This era marked the flourishing of mammals, taking the stage after the dinosaurs exited at the end of the Cretaceous period. The Eocene sits between the Paleocene and the Oligocene epochs, with each phase documenting crucial geological, climatic, and biological shifts. Tectonic plates were on the move towards their current positions, influencing the oceans and sculpting the climate in profound ways. A notable event of this epoch was the Paleocene-Eocene thermal maximum, which occurred around 56 million years ago. Imagine Earth undergoing a sudden temperature surge, with temperatures increasing by 5 to 8 degrees Celsius in just a few thousand years, likely due to a massive release of methane from oceanic methane clathrates. This event significantly impacted ecosystems, leading to the extinction of some species while triggering rapid evolution and diversification in others, especially among mammals. During the Eocene, the atmosphere was laden with CO2, with levels ranging between 1,000 to 2,000 parts per million, far exceeding the pre-industrial levels of about 280 ppm. High CO2 levels, driven by volcanic activity, the combustion of organic matter, and the declining efficiency of carbon sinks, enveloped the Earth in a greenhouse climate. This led to rising temperatures, altering weather patterns and ocean currents, and crafting a world vastly different from our own. The Eocene's warmer conditions had significant effects on marine life. Temperature changes affected marine currents, altering species distribution and fostering the development of new ecosystems. It was a period of change, new beginnings, and dramatic shifts that laid the groundwork for the planet's future. The Eocene epoch, with its stories of warming, shifting, and evolving, serves as a reminder of the dynamic and ever-changing nature of Earth. This historical artifact has since captivated scholars, historians, and conspiracy theorists alike, not just for its intricate detail and accuracy, but also for its enigmatic portrayals of the globe's coastlines, including what some believe to be the coastline of Antarctica.
Why don't they see the same thing that you do?
They think it's just fantasies of the map makers.
Mapped over 3 centuries before its official discovery by a Russian expedition in 1820, the map is renowned for its astonishing precision in depicting various coastlines. For instance, the eastern coast of South America and the Caribbean islands are outlined with a precision that far surpasses many contemporary maps of the era. The Brazilian coastline is detailed with river inlets and capes, which many European maps at the time either overlooked or misrepresented. Moreover, the map is filled with annotations that provide a rich historical context, shedding light on the maritime knowledge of the early 16th century. These notes are not just practical, detailing crucial information about ocean currents, but also ethnographic, offering insights into the early encounters between Europeans and indigenous populations. The map even ventures into the realm of the mythical, with depictions of legendary islands and sea creatures that reflect the folklore and seafaring culture of the period. Perhaps the most intriguing aspect of the Piri Reis map is its depiction of a southern landmass connected to South America by a narrow isthmus.
I think we're looking at hints and clues that something is missing in our story.
This portrayal includes detailed geographical features like mountain ranges, bays, and inlets that bear a striking resemblance to the subglacial topography of Antarctica, as it might appear without its ice sheet. These details are speculative yet align curiously well with modern seismic data, despite the fact that this area was not officially discovered until 1820 and not accurately mapped without ice until much later with advanced seismic equipment. This unusual depiction on the map suggests that Admiral Piri Reis may have had access to source maps of remarkable antiquity and accuracy.
It's based on more than 20 earlier source maps. That he put all these maps together and derived his own map from these.
The theory surrounding the Piri Reis map opens a captivating chapter in the study of cartography and ancient civilizations, intertwining historical mysteries with speculative archaeology. This fascinating map, far exceeding the geographical knowledge of its time, has led some to propose that it might be based on sources from a pre-glacial era, potentially crafted by an advanced maritime civilization. Such a theory not only challenges our understanding of historical timelines, but also sparks broader discussions about the sophistication of ancient societies. The hypothesis of advanced ancient mariners suggests these navigators possessed the technological expertise to travel vast oceanic distances and create precise maps of their voyages. This level of proficiency would necessitate a deep understanding of astronomy, mathematics, and physics, attributes that are evident in civilizations renowned for their astronomical prowess, such as the Maya and the ancient Egyptians. Moreover, the widespread myths and shared architectural styles across distant ancient civilizations, such as pyramidal structures in Mesoamerica and Egypt, hint at a possible global interaction facilitated by seafaring skills.
I believe that it's worth considering the possibility of a remote common ancestor, which passed down key information that was inherited by later cultures.
These connections could indicate that these societies shared more than just architectural concepts, perhaps even cartographic information. Continuing with archaeological parallels, the legend of Atlantis as described by Plato, of a technologically advanced civilization lost to the sea, echoes this theory.
All archaeologists hate the word Atlantis, because they've proved that Atlantis could never have existed, even though they have not looked at the parts of the world that need to be looked at.
While often regarded as a mere myth, the story of Atlantis resonates with those who theorize about prehistoric cultural exchanges mediated by a seafaring civilization. Such narratives provide a metaphorical framework that some scholars use to conceptualize real yet undiscovered advanced maritime societies. Another compelling site that aligns with this theory is Göbekli Tepe in modern-day Turkey.
Huge enclosures under the ground that they haven't excavated yet. The story of Göbekli Tepe is just beginning.
Dated to over 10,000 years ago, this site features sophisticated megalithic structures that predate Stonehenge by thousands of years, challenging conventional views on the development of early human societies.
It's going to require us to reconsider our whole dating sequence on megalithic sites around the world.
The complexity of Göbekli Tepe suggests that advanced societal structures and knowledge systems, possibly including navigation and map-making, could have existed much earlier than traditionally accepted. Additionally, mysterious underwater structures like the Yonaguni Monument in Japan add to the speculation about advanced prehistoric civilizations. These formations, controversially interpreted by some as man-made, might represent remnants of a sunken civilization that had sophisticated maritime technology. Such underwater discoveries continue to fuel debates and curiosity about the extent of prehistoric human achievements and their capabilities to navigate and understand the world around them. It's fascinating to consider how archaeological discoveries could provide a foundation for legends of advanced ancient civilizations. This integration suggests that stories of seafaring gods and heroes, such as Poseidon or Gilgamesh, might not just be mythical tales but could actually represent cultural memories of real historical figures from a globally connected ancient world. Take, for instance, the Vinland map, which surfaced in the 20th century and is purported to date back to the mid-15th century. This map includes a depiction of Vinland, a region of modern-day North America's northeast coast, famously associated with Norse explorations around the year 1000 AD. The controversy surrounding the map's authenticity, particularly debates fueled by conflicting scientific tests on the ink and parchment's age, adds a layer of mystery. If genuine, the Vinland map would be the earliest known depiction of the Americas, predating Columbus's voyages. Another intriguing comparison is with the Kangnido map, a pre-modern East Asian map from 1402, created during Korea's Joseon dynasty. This map predates both the Piri Reis and the Vinland maps, and shows a generalized view of the known world at that time, including an oversized China and India, and a recognizably outlined Arabian Peninsula. Reflecting the Joseon dynasty's keen interest in geography and its diplomatic relationships, particularly with China and Japan, the Kangnido map underscores the historical significance of cartographic knowledge in facilitating trade and diplomatic missions in East Asia. Unlike the controversial aspects of the Piri Reis and Vinland maps, the Kangnido map is well documented and recognized for its historical accuracy within the scope of contemporary Asian knowledge. These maps not only showcase the cartographic skills of their respective cultures, but also highlight the global nature of medieval exploration and the interconnectivity of various societies through trade, exploration, and possibly even shared mythologies. As we delve deeper into the history of cartography, it's clear that maps from different cultures and eras offer unique insights into the geopolitical and philosophical mindsets of their creators. For instance, the Ming dynasty maps from early 15th century China, such as the Daming Hun Yi Tu, which is an amalgamated map of the Great Ming Empire, showcase an impressive level of detail and scope. These maps presented the world from a distinctly Chinese perspective, centering on the vast expanse of the Ming Empire while also extending to parts of Africa, Europe, and the rest of Asia. The cartographic techniques used were advanced for the time, incorporating grid systems and a consistent scale that European maps only started to use inconsistently much later. Unlike many European maps focused extensively on maritime exploration, the Ming maps prioritized land masses and political boundaries, reflecting their primary use for administrative and imperial purposes. Diving into the depths of Earth's mysteries, the concept of a hollow Earth has been a subject of human fascination that ties together ancient myths with the threads of more modern, albeit speculative, scientific thought.
If you can't create a way to protect from the meteor impacts, you're going to want to go in there, man.
This journey through our planet's hypothetical hidden layers has evolved remarkably over the centuries, shifting from tales of underworlds ruled by gods and spirits to the realms of scientific inquiry during the Enlightenment and beyond.
There's a specific kind of idea that's unique to a human being.
This is why I love Hollow Earth theory, man.
The story begins in the 17th and 18th centuries, a period ripe with intellectual curiosity and scientific revolution. It was then that Edmund Halley, an esteemed figure in astronomy known for identifying the comet bearing his name, introduced a radical theory that would challenge the conventional understanding of our planet. In 1692, Halley proposed that Earth was not a solid mass, but rather consisted of a hollow shell about 500 miles thick. This shell, he suggested, harbored two inner concentric shells and an innermost core, each separated by atmospheric layers with their own magnetic poles.
In the core of the Earth is another sun that has an advanced civilization that hasn't been disrupted.
Halley's hypothesis aimed to explain the magnetic anomalies that baffled scientists of his time, suggesting these hidden layers each had their own magnetic field. Halley's groundbreaking proposal, though lacking in empirical evidence, marked a pivotal departure from previous notions of Earth's composition and laid the foundation for future speculative exploration into the planet's inner mysteries. His ideas, born out of observations of magnetic variance, opened the door to a world of possibilities that would captivate the minds of future generations. As we journey into the 19th century, the Hollow Earth theory found a new champion in John Cleves Sims Jr., an American Army officer whose vision took Halley's concepts to new heights. Sims passionately advocated for a model of the Earth that featured not just concentric layers, but large navigable holes at the poles, later dubbed Sims holes, acting as gateways to the world beneath. According to Sims, these openings led to habitable lands rich with unknown species and civilizations.
If the idea is like, yeah, humans have been on the planet for a long time, this is why I love Hollow Earth theory.
A concept that stirred the imagination of many. Dedicated to his theory, Sims spent his life promoting the idea through lectures, writings, and the pursuit of an expedition to the North Pole to prove his claims. Despite his fervor, Sims's ideas were largely dismissed by the scientific community of his time as too fanciful, and his hoped-for expedition never came to fruition. Yet his advocacy for a hollow Earth added a significant chapter to the story of human curiosity, propelling the quest to understand the unknown depths of our planet into the realm of popular imagination and speculative science. Digging deeper into the world of hollow Earth theories, two ideas particularly spark the imagination. Imagine, if you will, a realm beneath the icy expanse of Antarctica, illuminated not by the familiar light of our sun, but by a central sun of its own. This is not the cold, dark void you might expect to find under the Earth's crust, but a vibrant, hidden world, teeming with life. This central sun, a concept at the heart of many hollow Earth theories, is said to cast a perpetual glow, creating conditions that are nothing short of miraculous when compared to the frosty Antarctic surface we're familiar with. Picture vast, unexplored forests and expansive landscapes under a never-setting sun, where diverse species flourish in a climate that's both temperate and inviting. Unlike the harsh sun that scorches the surface world, this inner sun is gentler, less intense, providing just the right amount of warmth and light to sustain an ideal, Eden-like environment for its inhabitants. The nature of this luminous body at the core of the Earth is a subject of much speculation among believers. Some suggest it's a smaller, dense core emitting its own unique form of radiant energy, perhaps through processes unknown or unimagined by surface-dwelling scientists. Could it be nuclear reactions unlike any we understand? Or is it something even more mysterious? The theories vary widely, But the idea of a central sun remains a captivating notion. Now, there is an interesting story of Admiral Richard E. Byrd, a figure whose real-life adventures read like the pages of a high-stakes thriller, but it's his alleged secret diary that really takes the cake. Picture this: an American explorer and naval officer, already famed for his daring expeditions to the ends of the Earth, supposedly uncovers a hidden world right beneath our feet, according to diary entries that have sparked endless fascination. Byrd is no stranger to the record books, having flown over the North Pole in 1926 and the South Pole in 1929. These feats alone cemented his place in history, but it's what supposedly happened in 1947 that really stirs the pot. The story goes that during a flight over the North Pole, and later over the South Pole, Byrd stumbled upon an entrance leading to an inner Earth, a concept straight out of a science fiction novel. According to these disputed diary entries, he found a place where the laws of nature as we know them were turned on their head, a verdant paradise thriving with life, including species long thought extinct, all hidden beneath the icy wastelands of the poles. Imagine transitioning from a landscape of ice and snow to one of lush forests and green mountains, where woolly mammoths roam. This is what Byrd described in his alleged diary, detailing his journey into a polar opening that revealed an inner world contrary to the barren, frozen exterior we're accustomed to. But it doesn't stop there. Byrd's entries speak of encountering a civilization with technology so advanced, it makes our surface innovations look primitive by comparison. This society, hidden away from the world above, supposedly shared with Byrd their concerns for humanity's path, particularly our penchant for self-destruction. What's truly intriguing is the civilization's approach to Byrd, one of diplomacy and openness. They were not conquerors or threats, but rather beings deeply worried about the surface world's trajectory, especially the development of atomic weapons. Their message to Byrd, as he recounts, was one of warning but also of hope, urging for peace and cooperation among the nations above to avoid nuclear annihilation. In the intriguing diary entries attributed to Admiral Richard E. Byrd, he recounts an encounter that feels lifted straight from a science fiction narrative. Byrd allegedly stumbled upon a civilization with advancements that far exceeded anything the surface world had seen in his era. This wasn't just about fancy gadgets or superior engineering. It was a society that had seemingly cracked the code on living in perfect harmony with their environment. They had technology that allowed them to do things we can only dream of, like flying in aircraft that could maneuver at incredible speeds without making a sound, hinting at a profound understanding of physics that our scientists haven't yet grasped. These vehicles could seamlessly transition from soaring in the air to diving underwater and even operating in the vacuum of space, suggesting they might have mastered anti-gravity or tapped into other mysterious forces of nature. But what's perhaps most striking about Byrd's account isn't just the technological marvels he describes, it's the ethos of the people he encountered. This and astronomical concepts appeared across different continents. But it's not just about the buildings and their alignments with celestial events. Hancock thinks these ancient monuments reflect a comprehensive knowledge of astronomy that was integrated into the culture and religious practices of the time. He also suggests evidence of sophisticated urban planning in ancient ruins, indicating a level of societal organization and city-building knowledge that's not typically credited to prehistoric societies. Then there's the idea of a global spread of knowledge. Hancock theorizes that the similarities in architectural styles and astronomical knowledge across various ancient cultures around the world point to a common, advanced source of knowledge. This knowledge could have been spread by the survivors of this ancient society. Graham Hancock's theory really takes a global perspective when it comes to the influence of this ancient, advanced civilization he proposes. He thinks that this civilization had a major impact all over the world. It's not just a localized phenomenon, but something that reached across continents. According to him, we can see traces of this civilization in the myths, architectural designs, and astronomical knowledge of many different ancient cultures. He's suggesting that there's a kind of cultural diffusion that took place from this lost civilization to later societies. So when we see similar styles in buildings or common themes in religious beliefs and astronomical practices across various ancient cultures, he interprets this as evidence of their influence. He goes further to speculate that after some huge disaster that brought this civilization down, the survivors might have spread out to different areas of the world. These survivors, he believes, were the ones who passed on their advanced knowledge, and this played a crucial role in the development of the civilizations we know about from history, like the Egyptians and Sumerians. Now, when it comes to evidence, Hancock looks at archaeological sites and findings that he feels mainstream archaeology hasn't been able to fully explain. He talks about structures that, to him, seem like they needed pretty advanced engineering or astronomical know-how to build. He also dives into ancient texts and myths, interpreting them not just as stories or legends, but as allegorical records of real historical events. Think of tales about great floods or lost lands like Atlantis. Hancock sees these as collective memories of the lost civilization. He also notes that there are these cross-cultural similarities, like how myths from different parts of the world seem to share common themes, or how architectural styles and astronomical knowledge seem to echo each other even across cultures that supposedly never interacted. To Hancock, this points to a shared older source of knowledge. Antarctica, now a frigid and largely inhospitable land, was not always the icy continent we know today. In prehistoric times, it was home to a variety of animals, including dinosaurs, marine reptiles, and early mammals. Fossils discovered in Antarctica provide a fascinating window into its past ecosystems. Cryolophosaurus is one of the most well-known dinosaurs from Antarctica. This theropod dinosaur lived during the early Jurassic, about 190 million years ago. Measuring around 6 to 8 meters in length, Cryolophosaurus was a carnivore, distinctive for the unique crest on its head, which resembles an Elvis Presley hairstyle, earning it the nickname Elvisaurus. Another notable dinosaur from the same period is Glacialisaurus. This large herbivorous dinosaur belonged to the sauropodomorph group and was also about 6 to 8 meters long. It likely fed on the abundant vegetation of the time. The discovery of Glacialisaurus in Antarctica helps paleontologists understand the distribution of early sauropodomorphs. From the late Cretaceous period, around 70 million years ago, comes Antarctopelta, an ankylosaur. This type of armored dinosaur had bony plates covering its body for protection against predators. Antarctopelta is significant as it represents one of the few known ankylosaurs from the southern hemisphere. Marine reptiles also thrived in the waters around prehistoric Antarctica. Kronosaurus from the early Cretaceous period, about 110 million years ago, was a large pliosaur. It could reach lengths of up to 10 meters and had powerful jaws filled with large conical teeth, ideal for catching fish and other marine prey. Its presence in Antarctic waters indicates the diversity of marine life during the Cretaceous. Another giant marine predator from the late Cretaceous, around 70 to 66 million years ago, is Mosasaurus. Reaching lengths of up to 15 meters, Mosasaurus had a long, streamlined body and paddle-like limbs, making it an efficient swimmer. These top predators fed on fish, ammonites, and even other marine reptiles. Fossil evidence suggests that primitive mammals once inhabited Antarctica during the Paleogene period, about 66 to 23 million years ago. These early mammals were likely small, insectivorous creatures that lived during the warm periods of the Paleogene. They provide critical insights into the evolution and spread of mammals in the southern hemisphere. Ancient amphibians and fish also populated the prehistoric waters and wetlands of Antarctica. Temnospondyle amphibians, which lived from the Permian to the early Triassic period about 299 to 201 million years ago, were large amphibians that thrived in freshwater environments. Some species could grow quite large, resembling modern-day crocodiles in size and appearance. Their presence in Antarctica indicates that the continent had extensive wetland areas during these periods. Notosuchian crocodiliforms from the late Cretaceous period, about 100 to 66 million years ago, were a diverse group with varied diets and lifestyles. Some were terrestrial, while others were more aquatic. Their fossils in Antarctica show that these reptiles were widespread and adapted to different environments. The discovery of these prehistoric animals in Antarctica is significant for several reasons. These fossils provide evidence that Antarctica once had a much warmer climate, with forests and a rich biodiversity. The distribution of similar species across different continents supports the theory of continental drift and plate tectonics. Additionally, Antarctic fossils help scientists understand the evolutionary pathways of various species, including how they adapted to changing climates and environments. Imagine a time when Antarctica wasn't the icy wilderness we know today, but a temperate land brimming with life. During the late Paleozoic and early Mesozoic eras, Antarctica was part of the supercontinent Gondwana, which also included Africa, South America, Australia, and India. This ancient land was warm, lush, and could have supported not only diverse flora and fauna, but also early human or pre-human ancestors. The idea isn't as far-fetched as it seems. Just as early humans migrated to new territories as climates and environments changed, it's possible that they ventured to and settled in Antarctica during these hospitable periods. Discoveries of artifacts from early human civilizations in unexpected places like the Arctic, Siberia, and remote Pacific islands suggest that early humans were capable of long-distance travel, potentially even to Antarctica. If they did, we might someday uncover stone tools, cave paintings, or other cultural artifacts buried under the ice, providing unprecedented insights into the spread and adaptability of early human populations. The Piri Reis map, a 16th century map drawn by Ottoman Admiral Piri Reis, adds an intriguing twist to the story. This map depicts parts of the world with remarkable accuracy, including a section that some believe shows the northern coast of Antarctica free of ice. Critics argue that this depiction is based on earlier maps from lost civilizations or ancient mariners who had knowledge of Antarctica before it was covered in ice. If the Piri Reis map indeed shows an ice-free Antarctica, it suggests that advanced civilizations existed with the capability to explore and map distant lands long before modern technology. This could imply the presence of ancient ruins or artifacts beneath the ice, perhaps even remnants of the fabled Atlantis. The philosopher Plato described Atlantis as a powerful and advanced civilization that sank into the ocean around 9,000 years before his time. Some theorists propose that Antarctica could be the location of this lost civilization, based on geological and historical interpretations of ancient texts. If Atlantis or a similar advanced civilization existed in Antarctica, there could be ruins of cities, temples, and other structures buried under the ice, revolutionizing our understanding of human history and ancient technologies. Antarctica's harsh, cold, and dry conditions, combined with its vast ice sheets, make it an ideal place for preserving meteorites. These space rocks, protected from weathering and erosion, can remain relatively intact for millions of years. Deeper ice layers could hide meteorites from significant impact events that have not yet been discovered. Finding such meteorites would provide valuable information about the early solar system and the history of impacts on Earth. Some speculative theories even suggest that ancient extraterrestrial visitors might have left artifacts or crashed spacecraft in remote regions like Antarctica.
block measured around 65 feet in length and stood between 16 to 23 feet tall, dimensions that dwarfed Stonehenge and the pyramids of Egypt. But one question remained. How could such immense stones have been carved, moved, and placed in this remote landscape? Sidorov's notes speculated that the site might date back 100,000 years, pushing the timeline of human construction into uncharted territory. This hypothesis remains speculative, but if accurate, it suggests an advanced civilization that vanished, leaving only these stones behind. The Gornaya Shoria megaliths resemble other ancient structures, like the Baalbek stones in Lebanon or the Sacsayhuaman walls in Peru, sites that have puzzled archaeologists for decades. Yet Gornaya Shoria stands apart due to the immense size of its stones and its remote location, suggesting a level of engineering far beyond what ancient humans are believed to have achieved. Adding to the mystery were circular holes and signs of melting on some stones, as if exposed to intense heat. Sidorov speculated about ancient rock fusion techniques, or even a thermonuclear event, ideas that remain controversial. What could cause such damage? Was it a natural disaster, or some unknown ancient technology? Or, as some suggest, could it be the aftermath of a cataclysmic event that destroyed whatever once stood here? The mystery deepened when the researchers' compasses malfunctioned near the stones. Sidorov suggested a negative geomagnetic field, possibly a remnant of an ancient energy source. Similar geomagnetic disturbances have been seen at other ancient sites, prompting theories that ancient people understood how to harness natural forces in ways we have yet to rediscover. But the harsh Siberian climate cut the expedition short, forcing the researchers to leave before they could find definitive answers. Yet, the clues they gathered hint at a mystery that could rewrite our understanding of ancient civilizations. If these megaliths were built by humans, they suggest a forgotten chapter of history, one with skills and knowledge beyond what we have recorded. If humans built these structures, how did they survive in such a harsh environment? And why settle in the Shoria Mountains, where winters bring deadly cold? During the last ice age, around 20,000 years ago, much of the northern hemisphere was buried under ice. Yet Siberia's mammoth steppe, a cold grassland, offered refuge. Woolly mammoths and other large animals roamed, providing resources for survival. Evidence shows that humans adapted to this land. Stone tools, ivory weapons, and the remains of hunters have been found, suggesting that people thrived here earlier than previously thought, some dating back 30,000 years, nearly twice as old as the earliest known human sites in the Americas. Could the builders of Gornaya Shoria have found a haven in this challenging environment? Gornaya Shoria invites comparisons to other mysterious sites, like Baalbek's 1,000-ton stone blocks, or the precisely fitted walls of Sacsayhuaman in the Andes. These places share a common question. How did ancient peoples move and shape such massive stones without modern technology? Unlike those sites, Gornaya Shoria is far from known trade routes or civilizations, adding to the puzzle. Could similar knowledge have spread across ancient cultures, even separated by vast distances? Such theories have led to speculation about a pre-flood civilization, a society that may have existed before a cataclysm reshaped the Earth. Stories of lost civilizations, from Plato's Atlantis to the Great Flood, align with this idea. Could the Shoria megaliths be remnants of a society that thrived long before recorded history, only to be wiped away by disaster? The massive stones and their precise arrangement suggest the work of ancient builders, perhaps echoing their knowledge through similar sites around the world. Despite these theories, official research has been limited. Russian authorities classify the site as a natural formation, suggesting geological processes shaped the blocks. But without thorough archaeological investigation, this conclusion remains uncertain. Observers note the sharp angles and regular arrangement, making a natural explanation seem less likely. Could wind and water alone shape such structures, or do they reveal the mark of ancient craftsmanship? A link between Gornaya Shoria's stones and other megalithic sites, like the underwater ruins off Japan or the terraces of Pumapunku in Bolivia. The scale and precision of these sites hint that ancient builders might have shared architectural knowledge despite being separated by oceans. Could an ancient network have connected these cultures, leaving behind a global puzzle? Beyond the academic debate, Gornaya Shoria inspires more speculative ideas. What if these stones were not just the remnants of an ancient civilization, but designed with a purpose we don't yet understand? Could they have functioned as an energy center, tapping into geomagnetic forces? Some theorists point to the circular holes and signs of melting as evidence of ancient technology, perhaps a form of energy manipulation or a defensive mechanism that led to the site's destruction. These theories remain controversial but echo ancient legends, stories of cities destroyed by fire from the sky, of civilizations lost in sudden cataclysms. Tales like the sinking of Atlantis or the fall of Sodom and Gomorrah resonate with the stones of Gornaya Shoria. Could these myths hold a hidden truth about the structures beneath the Siberian wilderness? For now, the Gornaya Shoria megaliths remain an enigma, caught between myth and reality, nature and human design. Until more research is done, the truth remains buried in Siberia's frozen landscape. But if these megaliths were crafted by human hands, they could reshape our understanding of ancient history, challenging our beliefs about early human capabilities. As the sun sets over the Shoria Mountains, the megaliths stand as a silent mystery, questioning everything we know about human ingenuity. Are they remnants of a lost civilization or the result of nature's forces? Until more evidence emerges, Gornaya Shoria continues to invite speculation and wonder.
Graham Hancock's interpretation of the Piri Reis map, created in 1513 by the Ottoman admiral and cartographer Piri Reis, presents a fascinating narrative about the knowledge of ancient civilizations. The map, discovered in 1929 in the Topkapi Palace in Istanbul, Turkey, has only about 1/3 of its original content preserved. Despite this, the map's detail and coverage, including parts of Europe, North Africa, and the Brazilian coast, are noteworthy. The scale of the map is inconsistent, a common feature in early cartography, and it includes various annotations and illustrations.
This is a very neglected area of the world as far as deep and ancient archaeology goes. If you're going to propose a lost civilization, there are certain preconditions.
Piri Reis himself indicated that the map was compiled using various earlier sources, including charts from Christopher Columbus and possibly older maps, which might have included Western and Eastern, including Arabic, navigational charts. Hancock's interpretation of the map primarily focuses on its depiction of the Antarctic coastline. He claims that the map shows the northern coastline of Antarctica in a largely ice-free state, which, according to him, last occurred more than 6,000 years ago. This assertion, if true, would imply a significant historical anomaly, suggesting that ancient seafarers might have charted Antarctica long before it was officially discovered. However, this interpretation is contentious. Critics argue that the so-called Antarctic coast could be a misrepresentation or misinterpretation of the South American coast, or even an imaginative addition, not uncommon in early cartography.
In 1513, when Piri Reis drew the map, Antarctica had not been discovered. In fact, it wasn't discovered until 1818 by our civilization. It incorporates highly accurate relative longitudes. To do longitudes accurately on maps requires a chronometer, a marine chronometer that will keep accurate time at sea. And again, this was something that our civilization couldn't do until the late 18th century.
Another intriguing aspect of the Piri Reis map, according to Hancock, is its accuracy in longitude in certain sections. He posits that this level of accuracy indicates a more advanced knowledge of navigation and geography than what was available at the time. However, this claim is debated by scholars who argue that the accuracies could be coincidental or exaggerated, since accurate methods for measuring longitude were not developed until the 18th century. Hancock also suggests that the map depicts mountain ranges in Antarctica, which were unknown and under ice until recent times. This, he believes, further points to ancient knowledge of geography. Critics, however, counter that these features could be inaccuracies, such as misdrawn coastlines or symbolic illustrations, rather than representations of actual geographical features. Graham Hancock's hypothesis about advanced ancient knowledge, particularly as seen through the lens of ancient maps like the Piri Reis map, certainly stirs up a conversation about our understanding of historical and archaeological knowledge. Hancock points out that these maps display a level of geographical detail that seems remarkably accurate, especially when you consider the time they were created. For example, the Piri Reis map, which includes detailed coastlines and island locations, seems to suggest a level of knowledge that surpasses what was known or should have been possible at the time. It's quite intriguing, really. One of the more captivating aspects of Hancock's theory is the suggestion that some of these maps show features that were not officially recognized until much later.
Well, this map was drawn in 1813. It's the Pinkerton World Map, and it's based on the latest science available in 1813. So Antarctica isn't there. Why isn't Antarctica there? Because it's an honest map. They hadn't discovered it in 1813. So it's very odd, in my view, that Antarctica appears on much older source maps, which themselves are based on even older source maps.
Take, for instance, his interpretation of the Antarctic coast as depicted on the Piri Reis map, a region not known in the 16th century. This leads Hancock to speculate that these maps could have been based on even older sources, possibly from a forgotten civilization that had extensively charted the globe. It's as if he's hinting at a lost chapter in human history, one that recorded the Earth with surprising accuracy and detail. When we dive into the technological implications of his theory, things get even more interesting. Hancock suggests that the creators of these original source maps must have had advanced navigational skills, including the accurate measurement of longitude. A significant challenge that wasn't resolved until much later with the invention of marine chronometers in the 18th century. The precision in these maps, particularly in terms of latitudinal and longitudinal readings, implies a level of cartographic sophistication that seems out of place in the historical timeline as we understand it. It's as if these map makers had tools and knowledge that history says they shouldn't have had. Graham Hancock's ideas about the loss and transmission of ancient knowledge are quite captivating, weaving together a narrative that stretches across time and civilizations. He proposes that a wealth of geographical knowledge, once possessed by an advanced ancient civilization, was largely lost due to cataclysmic events or perhaps the gradual decline of this civilization.
It's a navigational device. It's a geared, cogged system that allows you to track the passage of time and figure out where you are. Again, that testifies to a lost navigational skill that we have not taken account of before.
It's a thought-provoking idea, suggesting that what we know of our past might just be the tip of the iceberg. Hancock believes that some remnants of this knowledge managed to survive and eventually influence the cartographic work of later civilizations, including those in the medieval and Renaissance periods. Hancock delves into how this information could have been passed down. He suggests a variety of channels, including oral traditions, mythological texts, and even surviving cartographic materials, which later mapmakers like Piri Reis might have used. Imagine, for a moment, ancient mariners passing down stories of distant lands and seas, with these tales eventually finding their way into the maps and charts of later generations. One of the more intriguing aspects of Hancock's hypothesis is his connection with myths and legends from different cultures around the world. He often draws parallels between these stories and the idea of advanced prehistoric knowledge and global cataclysms, such as the Great Flood narratives found in many cultures. In Hancock's view, these myths and legends aren't just fanciful stories, they're potential historical records, allegorical but based on real events and knowledge from these lost civilizations. It's a narrative that challenges us to think beyond conventional historical accounts, suggesting that our ancestors might have known far more about the world than we give them credit for.
You see, the one thing there's no dispute about anymore is that the Younger Dryas was a cataclysm. The megafauna that die off, the disruption of human activity that takes place at that time, the huge climate changes, this was a cataclysm by any standards. Where the argument still goes on is what caused the cataclysm.
Graham Hancock has this really interesting, if somewhat controversial, hypothesis about a global cataclysm that he believes occurred around 10,600 BCE. He suggests that Earth was hit by a comet or a series of comet impacts at this time, leading to massive environmental and climatic upheavals worldwide. This idea is particularly interesting because he links it to the Younger Dryas period, a well-documented era of abrupt climate change that started around 12,900 years ago and lasted for about 1,300 years. The Younger Dryas is known for a sudden shift back to colder and drier conditions following a period of warming after the last ice age. Hancock posits that this comet impact could have been the trigger for this dramatic climatic shift. What's intriguing is how Hancock uses ice core samples from Greenland and Antarctica to support his theory. These ice cores, which provide a detailed record of past temperatures and atmospheric compositions, show evidence of a rapid climatic change during the Younger Dryas. He sees this as a smoking gun, indicating a major impact event. He also points to geological evidence like sediment layers that show signs of sudden environmental changes, further supporting his comet impact theory.
We see all the megafauna dying off suddenly and rapidly. We see rises in sea level.